Hey guys, this is Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my special guest is ProDuoFlippers. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good. How are you?
Good, good. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people in the chat? Let them know who you guys are and where you're from.
Sure. So I'm David. This is my wife, Melissa. We are both full-time eBay sellers. She recently quit her job about 4 months ago, but we are based here in Idaho. And
In Idaho.
where are you at?
I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, cool.
And so you guys are based in Idaho, and you're both you guys are now full-time resellers. Is that correct?
That's right. I've been full-time for a little over 2 years, and she just joined me back at the end of August.
Okay, awesome. And so how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm a subscriber of your channel, and I think last year around the winter time you guys got sick. Are you feeling better now?
Yes, we are feeling better. Thank you. Right around Thanksgiving, I came down with COVID, and a few days later, Melissa did too. I got over it pretty fast, and Melissa was a little bit slower to get over it, but neither of us had it very bad. But we're doing good now. We're feeling, I think, 100% back to normal now.
Okay, awesome. So you guys are full-time resellers, and you mainly sell on eBay. Do you sell on any other platforms besides eBay, or no?
Yeah, I mean, so we do some local stuff. So we sell on Facebook Marketplace, and then we do. I mean, I have some listings on Amazon, but I don't really put new stuff on there. It's mostly just old stuff that I've had on there, and that slowly sells over time. So not very much there. And then we tried Poshmark. For those who followed us, we kind of tried Poshmark for about 6 months or so, and we kind of gave up on it. So we just prefer eBay. That's where we do well, and so that's where we're putting our focus into.
Okay, yeah, I tried Poshmark for like a week. It just wasn't my thing, going through sharing the closet and all that. Hey, can you just give me 1 second? I'm having an audio problem. I got to reboot my phone. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, sounds good. I guess we can't see. I don't know if everybody's sitting there staring at us or not. We can't see any chat, if there is any chat, but bear with us, everybody, if you're in there holding on and waiting for us. We had some difficulties too, so I apologize for getting on a few minutes late here. It wasn't working on our phone, so we went to our laptop, which we haven't used for streaming before. We need like some waiting music.
Some elevator music?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back.
My name is Austin Wolford. I'm Dallas Wolford. Anya Cup.
Good deal. Welcome back.
Sorry about that. So
that's all right.
We got a little bit of an echo now.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear it?
See if we can get rid of that.
All right, I think we're good now. No,
okay.
We're still echo.
Oh.
So anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry about the technical issues. Go ahead, guys. I just wanted to talk to you and figure out, how did you guys first get started into reselling? Like you weren't always full-time resellers, right? So what you were working a full-time job, right, somewhere, and then all of a sudden you just decided that you wanted to become a full-time reseller? Like, did you do that by choice, or what? Can you explain what happened?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, Melissa never was a reseller until she joined me this past year. But for me, I've been doing it a long time, for probably like 20 years or so. Since maybe 99 or 98, I've just been doing it on the side, just for fun, or just to get rid of things, or just to have a little bit of extra cash. And then I would say about six years ago or so, I got more serious about it and started building up my listings. I was working at a bank. I was a loan operations manager there. And it was a good job. I liked my job, but I like doing this on the side. And at one point, I just kind of decided to start upping my game with eBay and seeing how many listings I could get and how much money I could get. And then I started thinking that maybe this was a possibility to do it full time. And so we just kind of went for it. I built up my listings and my income with eBay until I could afford to pay my half of the bills. And then I just made that leap. So it was definitely a good choice.
Awesome. And so I was watching on Instagram. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your sales have been for the past 90 days on eBay in case people are new to your channel or they don't know who you guys are or what you do?
Yeah, so I think our 90-day total is sitting just over 50,000 right now. So it's maybe right around 51,000. So of course, two of those months is from fourth quarter, but this month is going pretty well too. January usually slows down quite a bit, but now that Melissa's with me, we've been able to maintain our listings or even grow our listings a little bit. Sorry, I'm putting my hand like right in front of her face. But I think that we're on track to do about 16,000 in sales on eBay this month. So it's going pretty well.
Yeah, awesome. I think last year in 2020, when I saw you on Instagram, you posted it was like 53,000 or something for 90 days. So
Right.
Yeah. So what I was saying is when you didn't just jump immediately into full-time reselling, you were kind of doing it gradually part-time on the side and building up your store, building up your listings before you decided to go full-time. So what was the trigger point, like the breaking point where you're like, all right, I've been doing this, 9 to 5 thing for a while. I think I'm going to try be self-employed and see how that works. Like what happened to make you get to that point where you're just like, okay, I'm going to try to be my own boss and see how that works out?
I think it was just I got to the point where I thought that it was a possibility, first of all. So like I said, I had a good job. It wasn't like I hated my job and wanted to get out of it. It was just got to the point where I was at work and wishing I was at home doing reselling instead because I enjoy it so much more. And so, and I was spending a lot of time that last year and a half. I was probably working 20 to 30 hours a week at least outside of my 9-to-5 job on eBay so that I could build it up, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How many active items do you currently have in your eBay store?
We are about 1,560 or something like that. We're approaching 1,600. We're trying to get to 2,000, but we're slowly growing.
Well, yeah, you must have had a lot of sales because I think last year you guys were over the 2,000 mark last year. I wanted to say you were at like 2,500 or 2,000 or something, right?
No, I think you probably got me mixed up with somebody else. I think last year I think in January we were at around 1,100 listings or something like that.
Okay, so what is the main, like, your bread and butter items that you guys are look to sell? Like, do you go and mainly find stuff like at thrift stores, or do you like go into yard sales? Like, what's your main niche items that you're looking for?
So our biggest thing is that we don't really niche. So we kind of look at everything. But I would say probably the bulk of what we buy is clothing and shoes because most of my sourcing is done at thrift stores. We also have a local auction house here in town. So that is basically whatever they have there. I go through the entire list, listings that they have for each auction, and whatever can make me money, I'll bid on that. So I would say mostly clothing and shoes, but we do sporting goods, electronics, car parts, whatever we can find.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to say hi to Emily Conway is in the chat, and we got Also Victoria is here hanging out. So yeah, so you said you mainly deal with shoes and clothing. Do you guys have a Goodwill Bins perchance nearby where you live, or no?
No, the closest one is Salt Lake City, which is about a 2.5-hour drive. And I've been down there a few times, but it's too far to really do it on a regular basis. Okay,
so do you have like some tips or pointers to help somebody, maybe 2 or 3 tips to help somebody maybe grow their reselling business? And I wanted to ask you a question, like when did you get to the point where your wife felt like she was comfortable with leaving her job to help with your reselling as well? Like when did that happen? It was a while ago. You said you've been doing it like part-time for almost 20 years, right?
Yeah, on a really small scale for the first 15 years. And there was like a 2-year period where I quit doing it altogether. And then I started up again probably about 7 years ago or so. And was part-time for a few years. And then I really started stepping it up. But as far as Melissa joining me, so we got a trial run when when COVID first hit and everything was shutting down, she stopped working for a couple months and she kind of tried it out. And so maybe I'll let her talk about what made her decide or how she just made the decision to quit, because it wasn't my decision really.
So I had that trial period, and I helped while I was doing homeschooling with the kids, and then when I went back to work in June, I don't know, I just wanted to be at home. I really love what I do. I love being a physical therapy assistant and working with patients, clients, and I love it, and it's rewarding. I just wanted to be at home. It kind of grew on me, I guess.
And maybe she gave me the elbow like maybe I grew on her a little bit. But I think for her, I think she just really enjoys working at home and that part of it. I don't know that she super enjoys the reselling part of it. I think she just likes doing the in-home business thing. And so it was a good trial for us. And it surprised me, honestly, when she went back to work, and it wasn't very much longer after she went back to work that she said, maybe I would like to do this full time too. And so she put in her notice. She gave like a couple months notice at her work. And she still will go back to her work like every once in a while. Like she worked a couple hours on
Monday, Wednesday.
On Monday and Wednesday.
I'll go in for a half day tomorrow. So
that's more than she normally does. She doesn't normally go in 3 times in 1 week, but like if they need help, like because people are out, then she can still go back and help for the day or something.
Yeah. All right. And so what are some of the biggest challenges? I think I caught one of your streams, I think it was last week, and you talked about just trying to do time management with, listing items, getting shipping done, going sourcing. Like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face if someone was like, hey, I'm doing this part-time and I want to become a full-time reseller? What are some of the biggest challenges that you guys face with your reselling business? Like, being your own boss. Like when you get to be your own boss, you get to be your own boss. Like if your paycheck isn't right that week, you can't go to your boss and be like, all right, now I need to go fix my paycheck. It wasn't right. Like it's all kind of on you. So how has that adjustment been? And like, what are some of the hurdles and obstacles that you've had to kind of overcome to kind of, control your time management and maybe, with being your own boss as opposed to working for somebody else?
Yeah, I think that there's just really, I feel like it's almost just one challenge, and that is the fact that you are your own boss, and so there's nobody there standing over you to make sure you're working, and so there's a lot of distractions that can come up. I've found that I'm not a super focused person, and so I think it's been a little bit better with Melissa being here because before I was on my own and I could just do whatever I wanted without anybody knowing what I was doing, right? So for us, it's just focusing and putting in the work, but we're not trying to be super strict about our time though. Like we went and played tennis this morning, and we kind of intentionally let things interrupt our day by design, I should say. So if that makes sense, we want it to be a relaxed business where if we want to go do something fun, or if Melissa wants to go get her nails done or whatever, then we can go do that during the day. And so, but the biggest challenge is not letting that stuff to try to distract us so much that it's affecting our income. And so I think as long as we're making enough money already, so I think for most people, it's just going to be getting the focus down and actually getting down and listing. I don't have a problem sourcing. I have a problem where I spend too much time sourcing. And so I have too much unlisted inventory, but I think the more that people source and look things up, the better they'll get at sourcing, the easier it will be to find stuff. So I think that's not usually the issue for most people who are doing this full time. The issue really is finding that time to sit down and get those listings up on a regular basis.
Yeah, awesome. I wanted to say hi to some people in the chat. We got Emily Conway is here. We got Joe Philly Picker is here hanging out with us. OC Victoria is here. The Flippin' Sports guy is here. We got the Resell Dojo is here hanging out with us. And we got Grifton After Work is here hanging out. And we got the Flippin' Sports guy. So Steve asked a question. He says, how are you dividing up your tasks and processes?
That's a good question. So we've pretty much just divided it up. I think it's fairly even, although it feels like I'm always behind and she's ahead of me. So maybe she's just a better worker than I am. But so Melissa, I do all the sourcing. She doesn't want to source at all. So that's unusual. I think most people who do reselling want to do the sourcing part because that's the fun part. But she has no interest in shopping, so I do all the sourcing. I try to load up a couple shelves with stuff for her to. So what she does is she photographs items, she preps the items, she photographs the items, and then she puts them into a draft on eBay through the app. And then I will take that draft and just finish up that listing. So she has everything done with the pictures. I don't need to crop or adjust anything there. I just need to, fill in the item specifics, fill in the title, the description, and then, research comps and put in my pricing. And then as far as shipping goes, she'll pull all the orders pretty much in the morning, and I'll package them up. And I guess that's about it. I do the accounting. I manage my spreadsheet. She doesn't like to do that kind of stuff either, but so mostly she's doing prep, photographing, and drafting. And so, and she also puts away stuff after it's listed, I guess, and some general organizing or whatever. But
okay, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your spreadsheet because you have a very organized, like itemized spreadsheet. Can you talk a little bit about that, like how you stay organized with your spreadsheet and how you keep track of all your paperwork and all that? Because it was like when I saw it before, I think it was like color coded and everything.
Yeah. So I've had this spreadsheet that I developed a long time ago. I would say I probably developed it 6 years ago. And over the years, I just kind of keep making improvements to it and adding things to it. And so it's a pretty in-depth spreadsheet. It has like maybe 10 or 12 tabs. So I have a tab for daily eBay sales, Poshmark sales, Amazon, local. And then I have one that kind of gives you a daily summary of all those things. And so basically the way I use it is if something sells, I enter that in on, the date, the item description, what it sold for. I have a formula that calculates the eBay fees for me. And then I enter in how much shipping was. I have another formula that calculates my profit on it. And then it totals it up for the month and for the year. And it's just a great way for me to be able to see all my numbers and understand what's going on, be able to monitor our growth over, week to week, month to month, and year to year. So I have I think I'm on like 5 years of data in this spreadsheet now. It's just really helpful for me. It keeps everything organized. It makes doing taxes at the end of the year a breeze because everything is done. I already know how much I spent on my inventory, on my supplies, how much I made on eBay, everything. So it's just been a great tool for me, and I enjoy working with it. So.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to catch some questions in the chat. We got Emily Conway. We got Thrifty Space Queen. We got the Far North is here. And the Flippin' Sports guy is here in the chat. He asked a question. He says, when you source together, do you all both get whatever you want? Or does one person override the other? Like, how exactly does that work if you guys are at a thrift store looking for merchandise to resell?
Well, it's pretty simple because she never goes. I think maybe 1 or 2 times I've gotten her to go. A couple times I've gotten her to go with me to estate sales where it's like super competitive and there's a long line, and so I need extra hands. But she doesn't like to go, and I'm okay with that. It just means I get to go more, I guess.
And he gets to bring home whatever he wants.
Yeah. And she complains about it a little bit too much. Not too much. Did I say that? She complains a little bit because we have too much stuff, and also sometimes I bring stuff home that needs to be cleaned more than she wants to clean. But
well, I understand about having too much stuff. Where exactly do you guys store all your merchandise? Do you have like a bin? Do you have a shed? Do you have a garage? Like, where do you guys store all your eBay merchandise to resell?
So a year ago, we bought a new house. We bought this house because our eBay was getting so out of hand at our old house. So we bought this house, and it has a 1,200 square foot basement that we use just for eBay. So it's been super nice to have everything in one spot. Well, mostly everything in one spot. Everything that's listed is down here. All our work areas are down here. But we do have a 3-car garage that's about half-ish full of our unlisted stuff. That is just, there's a tremendous amount of unlisted items still that we need to go through and get listed. But we're working on it. So we have a 1,200 square foot basement, and half of a 3-car garage is what we use for our eBay business.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. I got a shed in my backyard, and I have a 5-car garage, so I try to keep merchandise like outside in the shed when I can. But it's like I want to be inside listing the items because that's where we have air conditioning. So that way I take a bunch of stuff inside and then I'll process it. And then once I get 200 or 300 items listed, I'll stack them up against the wall. Then I'll take them out to the shed. But yeah, my processing room is kind of a mess right now. So I had a question, man. So last year, I think you posted that you had sold over 5,000 items last year on eBay. Is that correct?
Yeah, we just barely hit 5,000. I think it was like, just over 5,000, like maybe 5,040 or something like that. Yeah, it was a pretty good year for us. I think the year before I had only sold like 3,500 things or something. And so we're expecting to maybe hit at least 6,000 this year, I hope. We'll see.
So out of your 5,000 items that you sold, what would you say your average sell price was for those items? Like, what do you think it was, you know?
Yeah, it was like, I could tell you exactly. It was like 32 something. I have that tracked in my spreadsheet too. So it was just under $33 for the year, I think.
You know, that's what I was going to guess, right around $25-30. As I haven't seen your spreadsheet, I'm just kind of guesstimating because I'm trying to run the numbers in my head for numbers that you sold divided by what but the items that you sold in 90 days. And I was like, I'm guessing it's probably going to be somewhere around $25-30. So we have a, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We had a question in the chat from OC Victoria. She says, did you say how many items that you list a day or a week in your eBay store?
So we're all over the place. We kind of look at it by the week. So our goal is to list about 200 a week, but we rarely hit it. So I think right now we're more about 150 a week is what we're listing.
Well, you can go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you a minute ago. It's just a lot of stuff going on. What were you going to say before I interrupted you?
Oh, you're fine. I think I was going to say that our average sale price so far this year is like 38. It's a little bit higher. We're always trying to push that up a little bit higher so we can, increase our income.
Okay. And Emily Conway says, any financial goals that you're working towards? Like, do you have any maybe 2 or 3 goals this year for 2021 in general that you guys are working towards this year?
Yeah, definitely. We just posted a video on our channel about our goals for the year, but basically we are hoping to do, so we did 171,000 on eBay, I think, last year in sales. And so our goal, we're not going to set it super high, but it's going to be 200,000 for the year for eBay. And then we have some smaller goals for Amazon and Poshmark because we're not really going to be putting any effort there, and also local. So I think we're looking at getting 220,000 in sales total. That's our goal as far as sales wise. We also plan to pay off our Jeep. We owe about 8,000 or so on that. That'll be paid off probably in the next few months, actually. And then I don't know. We're going to build up our savings a little bit, and then we can't decide. We're kind of going back and forth between purchasing a piece of real estate next year or just starting to really aggressively pay down our mortgage. So I'm not sure which way we're going to go.
Yeah, 200,000. That's a whole lot of sales. That would be like almost $4,000 a week or something gross, somewhere around that range, close to it.
Yeah,
that would be a lot.
Yeah.
Emily Conway says, awesome goal. She says, how often do you guys source for merchandise? Do you go out every day, or do you go get a big haul once a week and then go home and store it and list it? Or do you go 2-3 days a week? Like, what's your plan or strategy when you're outsourcing?
So right now I haven't been going out as much. I've been going out like once or twice a week, but historically I've gone out maybe 3 to 5 days a week. And then that's for thrift stores. There's like 3 thrift stores in this town that I typically hit. So when I go out, I usually go out for about, I would say maybe 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And then we also have an auction house here in town that has auctions like every couple weeks. And then I tend to buy quite a bit at the auctions. So like maybe I'll fill up my entire truck bed and the cab of my truck at an auction.
Okay. Now, can you explain when you go to the auction house, explain kind of how that works? Is it like a regular auction, like an in-person auction where they give you a number and you just raise your hand and bid on items? Or do you bid online and then go pick it up later? Like, how does that work exactly?
So this auction house historically has done live ones, and they've done just online ones, and even the live ones you can bid online. So, but right now they're not doing live ones anymore. So until everything gets back to normal, they're just doing online auctions. And so they start listing this stuff a couple weeks before the auction date, and they'll list new items up until like even the day before the auction. So basically I will just kind of go through and monitor. Maybe they typically have between 1,000 and 2,000 lots. And so I meticulously take the time to go in there and look at every lot and see if there's something there that I want to buy. And then I won't bid until the day of the auction. I will bid as the auction's going, just to hope that I can get things for a little bit cheaper. And then I will go pick it up the next day is typically the way it works. Whatever I
cool. Yeah, Emily Conway says, do you have a storage shed? You said that you work out of your garage in your basement. So you wanted to know if you have a storage shed as well. Do you have a shed or no?
No, but I'm sure I could fill one up pretty quickly if I did. So it's probably a good thing I don't have one. We do have a little tiny shed, but we have like our backyard has a ravine, an incline, and the shed's at the bottom. So it's more like a playhouse. So it wouldn't be practical to put stuff in there anyway.
Yeah, the Far North Life asked a question, says, how did you find reselling, and what was the first thing that you sold on eBay?
That was a long time ago. So I actually started reselling in like 1998 or 1999 when eBay was pretty new. I'm not sure how I found it. It was so long ago. I don't know. I think somebody else probably told me about it. And so I just tried it out. I'm sure I just sold something from the house, and it was probably, I would say it was likely a video game, because that's kind of what I sold back in the day. That stuff was a lot easier to find because not that many people were doing it. And everybody was new to eBay and buying everything that they had ever wanted that they couldn't really find, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I had a question for you guys. When you go out, when you're at like a thrift store and you're looking for merchandise, what kind of profit margins are you looking at? Because you said you sell a lot of clothing and a lot of shoes, and I assume you probably sell other things like hats and hard goods and things like that.
Yep.
What are the profit margins in particular that you're looking for? Do you say, hey, I'm going to buy this item for $1 and sell it for 10? Or like what kind of profit margin is it that you're looking for when you're picking up an item to decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and grab it? Because you said your average sell price last year was like a little over $30. So I assume that you don't fool with $5 or $10 items, right? Like you try to get a higher ASP. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I do try to get a higher ASP, but however, I do pick up stuff like remote controls, stuff that are super easy to list and ship. So that's why my ASP is probably staying at like in the low 30s. Otherwise, it would probably be more in the 40s or 50s. But I basically want to make $10 off an item. That's usually what I'm trying to find, but I will make an exception for smaller things if they will sell really easily. So I would buy a remote control for $1 if it would, and sell it for $12. I do that all the time. They just sell really well, and like I said, they're very easy to list, very easy to ship. So I don't pass on that small stuff. And then other small stuff I might pick up too if there's multiple quantities or if it's just super easy to list and ship. But typically, yeah, I am trying to look for, like, I don't look at shirts. So I'm more, when I'm looking at clothing, I more look at jackets or outerwear, stuff that will sell for a higher price, like between $35 and $100 or so, rather than shirts that will only sell for $20 or something. I pass on most shirts. And then shoes, I like shoes too. They do pretty well. I'm looking at stuff that will sell for, I want stuff that's going to sell for at least $30 or higher for the most part.
Oh, okay. And so do you have anything like if I'm going with you to the thrift store and I'm looking at like shoes or I'm looking at clothing or items with you, is there certain items like maybe hot bolo items that we should be on the lookout for right now? If we go to the thrift store, like items you're like, man, these items are hot right now, maybe because of the lockdown, these items are selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was really hot, like back when she had joined me when things first shut down. There was a lot of hot items that were selling because of shutdown. I don't know that there's that many anymore. I think people have got back to normal for the most part. So, but as far as bolos, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of different things that I look for. Like I'll pick up a lot of golf shoes. I pick up some jeans if they're the right brands. I pick up a lot of ski jackets, snowboarding jackets, but you may not see that depending on where you live. I pick up a lot of vintage type jackets. There's certain electronics that I like. I mean, mostly I think I attribute most of my success to just being very curious when I'm outsourcing and looking everything up. If I think that, if I don't know what something is, I'll look it up. If I think something looks like it was expensive when it was new, I'll look it up. And that's kind of how I work.
Yep. So if something kind of sticks out to you and you don't know what it is, you just go grab it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, when we had lockdown, I was selling a ton of video games. I was selling a ton of these like workout DVDs, like people like
Yep.
work out from home and exercise equipment, stuff like that that normally wouldn't sell, did sell. I wanted to say hi to Prison to Profit. He stopped by. He said he was about to go live and saw you were on. Says hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man, Dante. We appreciate you, man. And yeah, we're just hanging out, doing our thing. This is our guest today. They're all the way from Idaho, and I think they said that their 90-day sales were over $50,000. So we're just trying to share some knowledge with the people in the chat, see if we can answer some questions and help them out. The far north is the far north life says outdoor clothing is where it's at right now. She asked a question, says, do you guys have any kids or any pets?
Yeah, yes to both. So Melissa and I got married about 4 years ago or so. And so I had 2 kids and she had 3 kids. So we have 5 kids together. 2 of them are old enough that they're both 20.
They'll be 21 this year.
They're going to be 21. That's scary. They're getting old. And so they live on their own, but we still have her 2 kids here that are 10 and 17. And then my daughter here is here half the time and she is 14. So, and then we have a dog, a boxer, and we have 2 cats, one outside and one inside that is actually her oldest daughter's. So that we're housing for a while, I guess, until she gets a different place. So yes, we did. We have a busy house.
Okay, awesome. Now I wanted to kind of talk to you about what is like your daily schedule and routine as far as running your eBay store, because like we talked about earlier, you're kind of self-employed, so you're kind of like your own boss, you're self-employed. So kind of give me a rundown of how like your schedule or routine does. Like for example, like what I try to do the night before is I try to pull all the items that I sold the night before, so that way the next day when I get up, I don't have to go hunt and look for them. They're already ready to go, and I just put them in a 6x9 padded envelope and ship them out the next day, so everything is boxed up and ready to go. Do you guys have a schedule or routine or something that you normally do for your eBay business?
Yeah, so I would say I used to always package my stuff up the night before, but since Melissa's joined me, that's kind of changed. I'm going to let Melissa kind of cover I'm going to see her point of view of what our schedule is normally.
So I'm kind of not really an early morning person, but that's when I work out. So I get up, and as I'm waking up, I come downstairs and I pull all the items for him, and then I go work out, get the kids up, and then he will get up somewhere in that time frame and start shipping.
Yeah, so I'll come down in the morning and I'll start shipping. And then when she's got our daughter off to school, she'll usually come down too, and then she'll start prepping or photographing stuff, or maybe she'll put stuff away that's been listed. And then it depends on whether I go sourcing or not. So at that point, once shipping is done for me, if I'm going sourcing, then I will go hit the thrift stores, usually in the morning hours when they're first opening. And I'm usually done by lunchtime, and I come back home, and then I would start listing stuff that she's had drafted. And then if I don't go, then I just start listing and stuff that she's got drafted, I guess. Or I might start doing some online research for the auctions that we have here in town. And that's pretty much it. We pretty much just do that until it's the end of the day.
5.
She'll go pick up the kids from school, and then she'll come back down and help some more. And we usually just kind of stop whenever we feel like stopping. Some days it might be 2:30, some days it might be 6:30. It just depends on whether we feel accomplished for the day or our mood, basically. And we also work, like I should say that we don't always just stop working at 5. Like I might still be on my phone drafting stuff while we watch or listing stuff while we're on TV or watching TV in the evening or whatever. And then we do some stuff on the weekends occasionally too. So we don't really have a good set schedule, and maybe we would be more successful if we did. I don't know.
Well, you got a lot going on. You said you have pets, you have kids, you have to take care of, and then you got to go sourcing, and then you got time listing. You got to take time to ship out items. There's just a lot of moving parts that's going on throughout the day, and I feel like maybe it works better for you if you're just more of like in a relaxed environment where you're not like in a strict schedule, because it seems to be what's working for you. The Far North Life says, do you guys sell on multiple platforms?
Yeah, so we do sell a little bit on Amazon and a little bit on Poshmark, but we're not really putting any effort there anymore. And so, and I think that's mostly due to the nature of the way that I source. So most of the items are like one-offs, and you know, a lot of stuff that just can't be listed on Amazon, and it's used items. So eBay just works the best for us, I think, for now. If I don't really do retail arbitrage. I don't really do wholesale or anything like that. If I did, I would be much more interested in being on Amazon.
Okay, awesome. Now, if somebody else is interested in maybe growing or scaling their business where they can make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in sales in 90 days, what tips or advice would you give them? Because to me, it sounds like one of the biggest things is it sounds like you reinvest a lot of your money into buying more merchandise into your business, right? So do you have any maybe 2 or 3 tips that would help somebody grow their business so they can get to the point if they're like, man, I'm doing 3,000 in 90 days and I want to grow it to 30,000. Do you have some recommendations that you would recommend?
Yeah, so probably the easiest way to do that is to still have a job, still have a 9 to 5. So that's kind of how, you know, I got my start, and how I built up more than halfway where I'm at now was I had that 9 to 5 job, and so did Melissa. We covered all of our bills with that and then some. And so all the money I made on eBay, I had no limit on the amount of money I spent sourcing. And so, and I feel like I kind of still don't. Like I buy, like if I go to the thrift store, I buy everything I find. I don't ever have to come home early because I'm out of money or anything. So I would say the best way to do that is, yes, reinvest as much as you can into buying more inventory, and then set those goals for your listings. So if you're at 100 listings, then set that goal to hit 150 listings. And once you hit that, then try to hit 200. And that's just what I've done all along. And now we're up to 1560 or so. Our goal right now is to get to 1600, and then we'll shift it up another 100 or so. So always just be setting goals and buying more inventory. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, it's like if you have $500 that you invest in inventory, and then every month you keep investing the same $500 over and over again, it's almost like you're going to keep getting the same results. But if you're like, hey, instead of spending $500, I'm going to spend $2,000 on merchandise. Well, then, you know, it's just a numbers game. You're going to buy more items. You're going to be able to sell more items because you've got more money invested into the merchandise. So that makes sense. It's kind of important to reinvest back in your business. Emily Conway says, what had been the biggest game changer for you in your business? Something that really upscaled your sales? What is an eBay trick, a mindset change that made a difference for you?
So I do think it's mostly mindset, in my opinion. But I would say the biggest game changer for me was when I kind of started thinking that I could do it full time. That motivated me majorly motivated me to increase my listings. I think I went from, in about 3 months period, I went from about 600 listings to almost 1,000. Once I realized that there is a possibility of me going full time, just because I love doing it so much, and the thought of me not having to go, you know, do the 9 to 5 thing every day just really motivated me to see what I could do.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any other tips or suggestions or recommendations or advice for people to help them with their eBay business? Is there anything like you have a big spreadsheet? That was like one thing that really stood out to me with your channel was your spreadsheet, because you had everything like color coded and had dates and everything in the spreadsheet. Do you have anything like that you would recommend? Like, say, if you're really organized with your business, to kind of like treat it as a business instead of like a hobby?
Yeah, I think I definitely am one that knows my numbers and follows my numbers. If people are curious, they can go to our channel, ProDuoFlippers, and check out my video on my spreadsheet and see what he's talking about. But it's pretty in depth. I think knowing my numbers really helps me figure out when I'm making money or where I'm making money, and make improvements or quit doing things that weren't working or whatever. But I think the biggest tip I could give is just be curious when you're outsourcing, is just really take the time that maybe somebody else won't to look up those things and find, because I've been doing this for years, and I still find new items that I never knew were worth money. I'm sure I'm still passing by tons of things that are worth money and I don't know about. So be curious, and then just buckle down and get listings and try to grow your listings constantly. That's the 2 biggest tips I could give you.
Yeah, I had a question. You mentioned something earlier about buying electronics. Is there certain electronic items that you're looking for?
Basically the ones that sell for a lot of money, really. We do pick up like VCRs, VCR DVD combos, and vintage electronics, like as far as audio equipment goes. Any other kind of pro audio equipment does really well. We do stuff like small electronics. So if you can find Walkmans or CD Discmans or whatever, Sony Discmans. I pick up a lot of remotes. I don't really think of those as electronics, but I pick up a lot of remotes. Anything, almost anything. I don't pick up printers that much because I don't like dealing with printers. But there's probably a ton of money in printers too. So I think it's just a matter of looking stuff up and see what they sell for.
Yeah, believe it or not, remotes sell really well. So if you guys see them, every time I'm at a thrift store, if I see one for like 50 cents, I don't even bother looking them up. I just put them in the cart and keep moving because I know at worst case scenario, if I pay 50 cents or something or $1 and it's, if I pay 50 cents and it sells for $10 or $12, it'll be worth it because it's got to have that exact serial model number to match that TV for it to work. We have a question from the Far North Life says, what is one of your most memorable sales?
We were just talking about this yesterday. I love going garage selling. Unfortunately, here in Idaho, I don't know where you are in the far north, but maybe it's the same where you live. Here in Idaho, garage sale season is very short. It starts like at the end of May, and it's usually done by the end of August. I mean, so maybe we have 3 months. But I love garage selling. I think one time a couple years ago, I came across a yard sale that had, I don't know why they had them, but they had about 8 or 9 brand new in the package still of Sony Walkmans and Discmans. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with how much those things sell for, but I think I picked those up Saturday morning. I had every single one of them sold by Sunday night, and they sold for between a price of $130 and $180 each. So I made $1,000 of profit off that one pickup in like a day and a half time. So that was pretty memorable. That was probably the best flip that I could think of.
Yeah, those CD Walkmans sell pretty well, and if you have one new in the plastic, they're worth even more money.
For sure.
So, we have Hyphen Gold is in the chat. Emily Conway is here. The Far North says, "I live in Alaska. We never have garage sales."
That's unfortunate. I love garage
Emily
sales.
Conway says, "What is the best parts about living in Idaho?"
Well, I'm gonna ask.
Outdoors.
So I think when everybody thinks Idaho, they think of potatoes, but really Idaho is very there's a lot of mountains here, a lot of trees. Depending on where you live, I guess, but we are here at an elevation of about 4,500 feet. So there's just tons of outdoor activities. So if you like to camp or hike or fish or ride bikes or climb or ski, whatever, there's tons of stuff to do outside. So that's what I like about it. That, and I grew up in California, so it's a lot cheaper here. A lot less crime here, a lot less crowding, a lot less traffic. There's a lot of good things about Idaho. That's probably one of the reasons we're one of the fastest growing states right now. Yeah,
I hear you. I had a question for you. Like, as far as your reselling business goes, you said that their goal this year was to sell around 200,000 in sales. What are some of the things that you're going to do to try to implement that to help grow your sales this year? I mean, are you going to be listing more items, or are you going to be purchasing more items? Because to me, my thing is just like, I don't have a problem buying the merchandise and doing the shipping. My two biggest issues I have is sitting down and making time to list items, because sometimes I'll put it off to the end of the day and I'll be like sitting here listing items, and then like my body wants to doze off and go to sleep, or I'll be in the shed and it'll be like 100 degrees in the shed and I'm trying to pull items for everything that I sold the night before, and I'm just like, man, why does it have to be 100 degrees, and I'm trying to pull all these items. So it's not the fact that I'm not motivated to list items. It's just like, I think I'm just getting old. My body just is like, hey, I want to take a nap. It's like, I don't want to it's not that I don't want to list items. It's like your brain just starts, your eyes start slowly closing, Do you have a certain strategy? Would you recommend maybe trying to list items earlier in the day or at night? Or because I'm usually a night person. So what I try to do is I go in my room and shut the door, so that way no one's bothering me at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I could just list items on my eBay store. But do you have any other recommendations as far as how to go about listing? Because I feel like reinvesting money in your business and listing items is kind of where it's going to be at, right?
Yeah, for sure. To me, it's all about the listings. So we're at 1,560 listings now, and our goal is to push towards 2,000, and that's going to be the biggest reason why we'll sell more than 200,000 this year, I'm sure. It in my opinion, it all comes down to listing. Once you learn, there's a learning curve to doing reselling, and once you've kind of learned how to do basic listings and price things appropriately, it all comes down to just listing enough stuff. So, like I said, I don't have a problem finding enough stuff. It's just a matter of sitting, like you said, sitting down and getting the listing done. Sometimes, yeah, the after lunchtime where you have like you're really finally sitting down to list is the hardest time to list because you do start getting tired. And I've been known to take a couple naps here and there, but.
Well, and I think don't sit in a comfy chair.
Yeah,
or
that
in
doesn't
your
help.
bed.
Yeah, that doesn't help. We have this really comfortable recliner that I don't sit in that very much anymore since she's joined me. Before that, I would sit there and it was getting a pretty regular thing that around 3 o'clock I would fall asleep in that chair while I was listing. But
I know that.
I'm sure she's not too surprised. But yeah, it's just about the listing. It really is. So that's how we'll make 200,000 is just by getting more listings up.
Yeah, I could definitely relate. I've had times where I've like sit Indian style in my bed and I had a bunch of pillows leaned up against the wall, and I'll be listing items, and then I'll just kind of conk out, and I'll wake up and have all these items stacked like in my bed, like all these DVDs or video games that I was supposed to be listing. And I'm like, well, tomorrow's another day. You did the best you could. So yeah. So, all right, man. Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with me today. I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out. Tell everybody where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram so they can come by and check you out.
So we're ProDuoFlippers. You can find us either on YouTube or on Instagram. That's basically it. We have the same account name for both. We've been trying to put more work into YouTube this year. I think we've got about 10 videos up so far this year, so we're doing really good there. Not sure how long we can maintain that level of putting up new videos, but we've got a little more of a following on Instagram. I started my Instagram account the day I decided to start. The day I decided I was going to go full time. So it's been about 2.5 years on Instagram, but we try to post there regularly too. But anyway, ProDuoFlippers.
Yeah, the flipping sports guy says that's my problem. By the time I'm ready to list, I'm exhausted. Yeah, I can definitely relate. Like I said, it's like you're human, you're not a robot, and it's like you gotta sleep, you gotta eat well, you gotta take care of yourself too. I mean, working and listing and making sales is great, but it's like you got to take care of you too at the same time. So
right.
Hey, so. Right. I want to appreciate you guys for coming on. Do you have any final thoughts before we let you go about reselling or just about just life in general that you would like to talk about?
I just say for all those that are considering going full time, I highly recommend it. I think I've maybe heard of one person who quit their job to resell and regretted it. So it's just before I did it, I heard people say that it was just a lifestyle, and I didn't really understand what it meant until I was able to do it. And it really is just the freedom to just do whatever we want, whenever we want is way better than the amount of money that we make. I think that's the #1 reason that if anybody's considering doing full time, that would be the reason to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing is, even if you're not a full-time reseller, you could still do it part-time and still make really good money. I think I would much rather be reselling than driving for Lyft or Uber or something like that, or a pizza delivery driver or something. So,
it's a great side hustle for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with me. And like I said, I'm a subscriber of your channel. And if you guys in the chat, if you guys don't get a chance, go by and check them out. I got their Instagram and YouTube is linked in the description down below. And maybe you'll learn something. They're really active on Instagram and YouTube. So I want to thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with me today. And hopefully you guys have a great day. All right.
Thanks. It was fun. Appreciate it.
All right. You guys have a great day. Bye, guys.
You too. Bye.
Bye.